Hello there, ATS EVS 105 students. Dr. Shragi here, and welcome to Module 5. Now, Module 5 is all about another way that we have to understand climate. Remember way back a couple modules ago, we learned about ways that we could understand the current and past climates using observational data and paleo proxies and things like that. Well, now we're going to be talking about another way of understanding the climate, and that's using climate models. In order to get to this point, we had to learn about the physics of the climate, and we had to learn about the carbon cycle and so on. But now we're ready to understand, well, what can we do? How can we simulate the climate? How can we understand what the climate is going to do in the future? For that matter, how do we understand what weather is going to do in the future? How do we make a forecast for 5 days from now? How do we make a forecast for 100 years from now? In this situation here, you're going to be learning about different kinds of models and what goes into a model. How is a model constructed? They're based on physical equations. We can make predictions of future systems and how they'll change and so on. We'll talk about that partly in the context of Las Vegas casino games. We're going to bring out a roulette table, and you'll see how we can make predictions about where the ball will land, or can we? Maybe we can't make predictions about where the ball lands. You're going to be learning about the strategy called ensemble modeling, where we will then ramp this all up and start talking instead about running a single model to make a forecast of a future system, like how the climate will change. We'll make dozens of forecasts, and how will we interpret the results of all these different forecasts of the models that the models are producing. And then finally, we're going to put that into context of the emissions scenarios that the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has created, where they have created 4 different storylines about the way the rest of the 21st century could play out in terms of changes in demographics and technology and fossil fuel use and economics and so on, to come up with realistic ideas. How much greenhouse gases are we going to add to the Earth's atmosphere for the next couple hundred years or whatever? All of which will be getting us ready to start understanding, well, what does the future hold? I mean, in a course called The Science of Climate Change, clearly what we're talking about is we want to know how climate is changing, and models will be one of our tools for understanding that. So this is an important module in the course, and it gets us ready then in future models to be understanding, what do the models tell us? First, we have to understand how models work, then we're going to find out what the models are telling us and what is the uncertainty and so on. All right. I think that's everything that you need. You're going to have a discussion in this module and a homework set and a quiz, just as always. And there's no reading from the Dessler book on this chapter. There is a link I provide to you to the IPCC chapter about the emission scenarios. I don't know that I would necessarily say you need to read all of that. The IPCC, that chapter is a bit technical and wonky. Possibly a better plan for you would be to, like, oh man, if you're studying at the last minute and you have questions and you can't get a hold of me, that'd be a good place to look for your answers, okay? Search through that PDF file for, well, what was the B1 emission scenario? That'll be fine. But actually reading the whole thing, it's kind of long and pretty technical. It's definitely oriented around, like, social sciences and stuff like that. On the other hand, maybe that's, like, you know, what you're planning on studying. Maybe you're planning on being a sociology major or a psychology major or something, or political science major or something like that. Well, actually, that kind of stuff's all over the place in that chapter. That might be a really interesting chapter for you to flip through. All right. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I think you're going to enjoy Module 5.